Okay, this is Series 10 so far that I have casted of the TA Escalation Pro 2021 tournament. And this particular match is a round 2 match between BTU Natas, who is the red commander and the bottom right, red armed commander starting vehicle first. And in the top left, we have Executrix, who is the blue arm commander, who is also started vehicle first. And from henceforth, I will simply refer to the players as EXE and Nat to make it easier for me to pronounce their names without embarrassing myself. Again, we are playing on Gauntlet. This has been one of my favorite maps of the entire tournament so far. This may be the last game that we see the Gauntlet, because when we go to round 3, we will have a whole new set of maps, and so out with the old and with the new. But we have had quite a few very interesting and amusing games on this particular map. And I am excited to see what it brings in Series 10 between these two players. I don't know much about either of these players, I admit. I haven't seen them play before. But if they're in round 2, we can assume they are relatively skilled, and we look forward to the game that they are about to bring us. Both players have started out just building some Jeffies, very normal start. Probably trying to get some harassment done, maybe get a few metal extractors, or if they're really lucky, they can catch a construction vehicle. In the last series we did between Harold and Wotan, we were able to observe just how much economic damage it can cause if a construction vehicle is caught off guard and killed early on in the game. It can be an extremely crippling blow to the player, which can ultimately snowball out of control and cause them to lose the game in a very unceremonious way. So here at the top, it does look like Nat has sent a few Jeffies, but EXE is doing quite a good job of defending this potential attack with his own, and thus far neither player has really been able to accomplish much with their starting Jeffy armies, which is good because I do prefer these games to go longer. I prefer to see the players tech up and show their stuff in a long macro oriented style, and to just see all of the very interesting T2 and T3 units being represented in their full glory in TA Escalation. It's very fun to watch the huge explosions and giant carnage. But here in the at the foot of Knott's base, we just have a few Jeffies fighting one another, and it does look like Knott will bring some Samsons to try and defend against this little Jeffy contingency that EXE has brought to the southern left part of the map. He is looking for some metal extractors to raid with these Jeffies, but unfortunately Nat has not expanded that far left yet, and thus these Jeffies will probably be cleaned up by the Samsons, who I've said in previous casts are very efficient at taking out Jeffies just because they have a long-range missile attack that's very accurate and good against these pesky raiders. Here at the top, EXE has brought a few flashes, but they will be easily cleaned up by these LLTs that EXE had prepared just for this particular situation. And once again, he's got some more LLTs here at the top left and at the top right, so his base seems relatively defended. It will be difficult to get any more scouts or raiders through the gauntlet into EXE's base at this point. So we'll have to see what happens. It does look like Nat is building his own little fortifications here at the bottom of the map, at the foot of his entrance to the gauntlet. Some defenders. Again, in Escalation mod, defenders don't do as much damage against ground as they did in 3.1c, but they are still somewhat effective given enough time, and especially against those pesky scouts and raiders that love to bypass their opponent's defense and try to get right into their economy and do permanent economic damage. But at this point, both players seem to be content to just build an army of flashes and to send them at one another. In this situation, Nat is going to have an advantage because he does have some defenses here to complement his mobile army of flashes, which should allow him to take the initiative in this fight and ultimately beat his opponent. But it does look like two flashes have gotten by. They will certainly try to get a little bit of damage done if they can. Maybe take out some metal extractors, and maybe take out this construction vehicle if Nat doesn't move it. Oh, is he going to get it? He does get it. It's a bit of damage that he did. It's a little bit of annoying at the very least, taking out a construction vehicle. This flash continues to just move around Nat's base and try to take out every metal extractor he can find. Try to get any kind of economic advantage that he can get over his opponent. But ultimately it was cleaned up, not without doing damage though. I'd say that was a fairly successful run by EXE, and while doing run-bys of his own, he has created quite a defensive wall here. He has at the front a contingent of light laser towers. He's got some javelins, which, as I've said before, are very good against flashes if they can be kept at a range, and to utilize their powerful Gauss cannons to full effect against the flash's short-ranged EMG weapons. At the moment, it does seem as though EXE is in full control of this game. He has defended his side of the map very well. Even if Nat can bring flashes past this defensive fortification, he will find it very hard to get past these LLTs. And in the meantime, EXE is now on T2. He's building bandits, which are essentially the ARM Raider T2 vehicle. And we will see what he can get done with a small contingent of bandits, which, as I said before, are designed for raiding. They are very fast. They do quite a bit of damage, and they are designed specifically to get into the opponent's economy, get into their exposed base, and deal as much crippling economic damage as possible. Now, it looks like Nat is also on T2. He has built some bulldogs. Here's his T2 plant. He's also gone air. Not a bad idea. That's a good opportunity to get some scouting done, see what his opponent is up to, and to give himself an advantage in terms of intelligence, and even perhaps to build bombers if he would like, which he is doing. He's going to start some thunders. It does look like EXE has done a pretty decent job of building defenders, but this area is still relatively lightly defended against bombers, and he could do quite a bit of damage were he to decide to micro some bombers up the left side of the map and commit a bombing campaign straight into Nat's base. Straight into EXE's base. Here in the middle, we have a battle between bulldogs and bandits. Typically, the bulldogs are going to come out on top here. Bulldogs are just stronger than bandits in general. They do quite a bit more damage at a higher range and have AoE and have more health. So I would think that Nat here is going to be perfectly fine against these, unless they sweep down the left side here, attempt to run by, and attempt to get into their opponent's base and do what they were designed for, as mentioned earlier. That juicy raiding capability that they are so created for. Let's see what kind of damage he can get done. There's only 4, but 4 bandits is enough to cause quite a lot of damage if left unchecked. He will be trying to bomb these with a thunder. He has taken out the aircraft plant, which is a nice pickup. He's taken out at least 3 construction vehicles. He's taken out defenders, taking out metal extractors. Overall, a very successful run by. Very, very annoying for Nat. And I have to say that EXE has to be happy with that. That's more than he could have possibly hoped to achieve with this little contingent of T2 Raiders. So congratulations for him, and we will see what else he can get accomplished. At the moment, he is upgrading his mexes. It looks like he is trying to upgrade his economy to a T2 economy, which is, I have to say, a very good choice, very good decision in this situation, simply because if you're ahead, get more ahead. He has already inflicted quite a bit of damage onto his opponent, his opponent Nat's economy, and therefore it gives him a little bit of an opportunity to get even further ahead, while Nat cleans up his wounds, kind of licks his wounds, rebuilds his base, reclaims all this metal, and tries to get back into this game if he can. See what they're building. So EXE has gone for T2 Air. This is, again, as I've said on this map, a very good option. It gives you a ton of strategic possibilities with T2 Air. We've seen transports being used to bring bulldogs, drop bulldogs into the enemy base. You can go bombers, you can go brawlers. Really, the sky is the limit when it comes to T2 Air on this particular map. It does open up a world of possibilities, and we will see what EXE decides to do with those possibilities. We'll see how he decides to use this. Luckily, Nat has built some flackers. He does seem to be anticipating that his opponent will be going for some kind of aerial assault, and he would be absolutely correct. There was a little attempt for a Panther run by here, but it was thwarted pretty easily by these bulldogs, and therefore doesn't look like anything will come of that. But let's look at the economies here. As expected, EXE is on 165 metal per second, and his opponent, Nat, is only on 80, so EXE has over twice as much metal per second in this game so far, and it does look as though he's brought down some freedom fighters, which in escalation have been nerfed. They don't do as much damage as they do in the original game, but they still can be quite annoying. It doesn't look like Nat has any air defense to speak of in this part of the map, at least. In his base, he does have some decent air defense. He's building more. He's building. He's got 3 construction vehicles building defenders. He's got some flaks here. At least 1. He's working on the second one. Yeah, he's got at least 5 construction vehicles pumping out defenders, 6 with this construction K-bot. So he is quite prepared for an aerial assault, and just in time, because slow it down. This group of Phoenix is coming in hot to do as much damage as they possibly can. It's going to take out this Moho. He's going to take out this Geo. Let's see what else he does. He's going to go for this Moho, possibly. Yeah, he gets that one. Let's see what else he can do. Okay, he takes out some solars. He might be able to take out this metal extractor. Gets that. And it looks like that's going to be it. But that was quite a bit of damage. Oh, here we have a stray Phoenix. It's going to make a run on the Geo, but quite a good job. He took out a Geo. He took out a couple Moho extractors, and overall, very successful bombing campaign, even in spite of the fact that Nat has built a veritable fortress of defenders to prevent that from happening. But it does just show that in the hands of a good player, T2 bombing runs can be quite effective, even if your opponent builds a formidable structure to defend that from happening. So in the middle we have army of bulldogs on both sides, but Nat does have this contingent of javelins, which aren't so great against bulldogs. They have less range, they have less health, they do less damage, and overall the bulldogs are just going to kind of chew these up, and Nat, kind of recognizing this, has decided to bogey on out of there and get closer to his defensive line of sentinels and defenders and flaks. So overall, let's see. EXE is still pretty far ahead. He's 90 metal ahead of his opponent at this point in the game. He is just still building looks like a combination of Panthers and Tritons. I'm not sure why he's building Tritons. Tritons are the arm amphibious tank. They're typically good on maps with water. I don't know how they're going to be useful in this situation, but we will have to see how he utilizes them. On the left here we have a battle between two bulldogs, between two contingents of bulldogs, and it doesn't look like much is going to get accomplished there. But EXE has decided to bring his army of bulldogs on the right into the defensive line of Nat, and those will quite easily be cleaned up, I think, and the ones in the middle as well. These sentinels are quite good, especially if complemented by this army of bulldogs and javelins, and it shouldn't really be much of a problem to thwart this attack. So overall, EXE has tried. He's done a decent job, but Nat was prepared. Let's slow down. He has built another contingent of Phoenixes and has brought them right down the middle of the map, right through these three flat cannons, as we saw earlier, 1, 2, 3. And because he flew them right over those three flat cannons and all of these defenders, it was essentially a suicide run. Those bombers did not get that much accomplished, and Nat was definitely prepared for that attack. So we'll have to see what else EXE has planned for his opponent. He's on 2 advanced vehicle plants. He has been for a while. He's pumping out Panthers, but I don't think Panthers are really going to break this defensive line that Nat has constructed. He's got some freedom fighters. He's building a fusion. Yeah, overall, EXE isn't really doing much that I can tell that's really going to be able to break his opponent's fortress here at the foot of his base, at the entrance to the gauntlet on the south side. Yeah, I don't see what EXE is doing to really break this stalemate. Phoenix are pretty good. He could probably get some more bombing done if he goes around his opponent's air defenses instead of flying through the middle like he did last time. But overall, Panthers and Phoenix are not going to win the game on their own. So we'll have to see what EXE has in store to try to break this line. On the other hand, looking at Nat's base, he has his own bombers being built. He is also on T2 Air now, working on a fusion. But otherwise, it looks like he is just content to fortify this defensive line. He's building an Annihilator, which is incredibly useful defense, arm-only defense that shoots a purple laser at a very long range that's especially good for taking out high HP units such as Bulldogs or Goliaths, or pretty much any T3 unit falls into that category. And overall, as I said before, it is going to be tough to break this line, especially with just Panthers. Let's slow it down. I don't think that these Panthers are going to be able to get through, but that does depend on Nat's ability to micro. He needs to bring these Bulldogs over here into the action so that he can prevent this contingent of Panthers from breaking past his defensive line, the Maginot line, perhaps you could call it. And it does look like EXE will go for this commander and was successful. So congratulations on to him. Very good game. I think EXE was ahead for most of it. He was in a dominant position. And he did end up winning simply by sniping his opponent's commander with Panthers. But overall, I did expect the game to go out longer. But very good game between the two players. As I said, I always enjoy games on this map. And with that, let's move on to the second of this series. Okay, this is game 2 of Nat versus EXE. And this time we have EXE in the bright red arm commander, going vehicle first, and in the deep blue we have Nat, the arm commander, going K-bot first. As I've said before, I like vehicles more on this map. I think vehicle first is better just because there is such a large distance between the two starting positions, and it is a relatively flat terrain, which does allow vehicles to get to your opponent's starting base at a much more rapid and consistent manner than can K-bots. K-bots are, of course, always an option, and it isn't necessarily bad, but I do think I do give vehicles the advantage in this particular situation. And we will have to see how that goes. As I've said, I like this map a lot. I like that there's only one land bridge that the units can cross unless you have some other form of traversal, like hovercrafts or amphibious units. So that does create very interesting gameplay often. And it looks as though the players having a very traditional start. EXE has decided to build a tiny little squad of Jeffies, and Nat has built his own little contingent of Peewees to perhaps stop these Jeffies and do a little bit of harassing and economic damage of his own, and we will have to see how these differing strategies play out. As we can see, the Jeffy is quite a bit faster than the Peewee, and so one of them will get by and attempt to get into Nat's base and take out at least one metal extractor. Over here on the right, have a similar thing happening. This very annoying Jeffy skirting the Pee-wee's range and attempting to take out metal extractors. It does look as though this one Jeffy has taken out 3 metal extractors by itself. A very effective raid. Very annoying for Nat, and it does look like this Jeffy will take out 1 on his own. So on the left side here, there have been at least 4 metal extractor kills, which is a very good start for EXE. It should give him an early game advantage over his opponent, and we will have to see how he takes that advantage and utilizes it going into the mid-game. Nat has brought down his little contingent of Pee-wees here. And they are going to slam right into this wall of flashes, and the flashes should have quite a bit of an advantage because they have more health and are quite a bit faster, and will chase down those Pee-wees and finish them off. It does also look like EXE is going to build some light laser towers at the entrance to his land bridge, which is a very good idea to prevent Nat from being able to send some pesky raiders into his base and get some permanent economic damage done. In the meantime, EXE will be sending his own contingent of flashes through the north part of the land bridge and into his opponent's base to, no doubt, kill a few more metal extractors, maybe pick up a construction K-bot, maybe pick up a defender or 2. We'll have to see what he gets done. But no, he's going to bring them south here, take out this metal extractor, and it looks like that might be it. Just 1 metal extractor. Pretty effective defense by Nat. Great job holding off that attack and not allowing EXE to get too much economic damage done with his squad of flashes. And in the meantime, it does look like EXE is going into Thunders. Let's look here. In Nat's main base, it doesn't look like he has air defense at all. Not a single defender anywhere. No Samsons, no Jethros, nothing. So these bombers could potentially be incredibly effective. Primary targets might be this Geo, this aircraft plant. This whole line of stuff could kind of create a chain reaction. A lot of juicy targets. But it does look like Nat is also building his own bombers and might try to get some stuff done there. And EXE has now revealed his bombers. He's just content to fly around, take out metal spots on the top right corner of the map with a single scout in front to give him some vision. And overall, that has been fairly effective. In the meantime, Nat has built a hovercraft platform and has built some skimmers here to skirt his opponent's defenses, traverse the river, and get into his opponent's economy and try to get something done. He'll probably take out this construction vehicle, and he gets a couple metal extractors. So overall, oh, no, I was wrong. It looks like that construction vehicle lived with just a smidgen of health. He finished the LLT just in time. So very effective, very effective defense on the part of EXE. In the top, he is continuing to do his bombing harassment of those metal extractors, but Nat is now caught on to his scheme and is building some Samsons in defense. Samsons are very, very good against bombers, especially in equal numbers. And so, at the very least, it should stop this harassment, this bombing harassment from happening. On the top right corner of the map, in the middle, we do have a skirmish. Let's slow it down here. A fight between 2 squads of units, mostly consisting of flashes, stumpies, and javelins. And we have some bombers here continuing the economic harassment that EXE has been performing for the past few minutes with these very effective bombing runs. And in the middle, it does look as though EXE has an advantage. He has more units, and the units he has are simply stronger in this situation. Warriors, as I've said in previous casts, are somewhat short range and slow moving, but if they can get into firing range of their extremely powerful EMG weapons, they will chew through absolutely any T1 unit in the game in a matter of seconds. And it does look as though, in this situation, EXE is using those warriors to absolutely full effect. He has broken through the land bridge and is now in the north of the map, which does give Nat quite a bit of a problem to deal with. We'll have to see how he attempts to handle this. In the south, Nat has built some zappers, which are one step up from skimmers. They are more of a skirmish hovercraft. They're quite a bit more beefy. They have quite a bit more health and are better at surviving these emplacements, the LLT emplacements. They should be quite a bit better at holding this position. And he also has brought some Thunders to do a bombing campaign against EXE's metal extractors if he can. It doesn't look as though there's much air defense, but we do have Pelicans now, which at least in the original game had missiles, but those may be gone. But in any case, EXE has built some defenders which should hold off this attack. In the top, EXE has continued to push with this expeditionary force that he got past the land bridge earlier in the cast, and is now moving them into the heart, into the very core of Nat's base to see how much damage he can possibly get done. Additionally, he has used the opening of this gaping wound in Nat's defense to bring even more units to try to get some more economic damage done at the top right corner of the map. We will have to see here what else he can do. At the top left, it does look as though Nat is finally cleaning this stuff up. He has built a Maverick. There's been a lot of discussion about Mavericks in the Discord lately about whether they're too strong, too overpowered, too good. They have been nerfed recently. Well, maybe rebalanced is the right word. But overall, the Maverick is a strong unit, especially against T1 spam. And maybe Nat is relying on the strength of the Maverick in this game to try to bring him back into it. But he does have quite an uphill battle. He does have quite a mountain to climb if he wants to get back on even footing with his opponent here. It does look like he's about 15 metal behind at 68 to 63. And on the bottom left here, Nat has built a Rebel, which will be quickly surrounded by Pelicans. And those Pelicans will quite likely move up the west side of the map here, take out this construction hovercraft, take out these tile generators, take out these defenders, and this metal extractor, and whatever else they can get done. At the top of the map, you still have this pesky raiding force that EXE has brought past the land bridge through the gaping hole, which Nat has still been unable to staunch. The bleeding is occurring, the bleeding of EXE's red units that are escaping through this perimeter into EXE's side of the map. And as expected, these Pelicans have already done quite a bit of economic damage, taking out every tidal generator and also several metal spots, and attempting to further harass his opponent by taking out the hovercraft platform. taking out construction K-Bot, and perhaps even getting the K-Bot lab. This has been a very successful raid with Pelicans. It does look like it caught Nat completely off guard. Let's see what else is going on here. He has brought his commander, but it looks as though he's not microing. He could potentially degun those if he was paying attention. Let's see what else is going on. EXE has brought his northern force from the top right. He is now moving it left. And it looks like Nat is still trying to deal with this contingent of Pelicans, which are slowly eating away at his base. And Nat will, it seems, finally tap out and recognizing that the game was over. But either way, very interesting game. Great job by both players and a good series. And EXE does move on to the next round. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next cast.